Hello and welcome back to Pilates with Marilyn. I'm Marilyn Harder, Pilates instructor and master trainer, and today we are going to do all things planks. So if planks are not yet in your practice, go ahead and jump back to a previous episode and work on some of the foundation movements. Now today you'll notice I'm wearing some gloves. These gloves are called wrist assured gloves. They have a pad in them. I talked about this in episode 6. And what it does is it helps take some pressure and flexion off the wrist and transfer that into the forearm, bicep, tricep, and lat. I highly recommend these for anyone that tend to dump into their wrists while you're building up the strength to be there. Also for anyone who is hypermobile like myself, whose joints go beyond normal range. Also today, depending on where you are in your practice, you'll either need a counter, a wall, or a box to start building up the strength of your practice, and then also a TheraBand. So you can buy a TheraBand on Amazon for pretty cheap, and then you'll need a door anchor and you can close it into a door so we can work our mid-back. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, let's go ahead and start connecting our full body into our active position. We want to start hip distance apart, toes in front of heels, and I want you to just take a moment to root your feet down into the earth. Big toe to pinky toe side, center of the heel. Try, if your knees roll in like mine, try and roll them open and activate the gluteus medius while staying active through the tripod of the foot. We're going to take a nice big inhale in, breathing into that rib cage, and exhale. Let all of that air out. And let's go again. Nice big inhale in. Root down into the earth as you lengthen the crown of the head to the sky, and exhale, blow out all that air. One more. Take a nice big inhale in. And exhale. Press down through those hands and activate underneath the armpit. So I want you to imagine right now that you're holding a $100 bill in the back of that armpit. We're activating in through the earth, through our feet, and we're going to start to take our body in motion at the ankle joint only. So palms flip forward to keep those shoulders back and down, and we're going to start to lean forward at the ankle joint like a downhill skier. Now we don't want to lean so far that we're gripping with our toes and our heels are lifting, so I want you to try and anchor those heels down long through the crown of the head, and then notice how your front body and back body start to turn on in a static plank. And then we're going to go ahead and lean back. And as we lean back, we don't want to feel like we're going to tumble behind us, but we want to feel that activation again through the core, the glutes, and the back body. And let's do that again. We're just leaning forward and back. We're warming up the strength in our elongated body without taking ourselves into that plank. So a plank is what I like to call a full body dynamic exercise. It's when our body and our strength all come together in unison. So this is the audition for that. So we're auditioning our body. Are we ready for it? Woo! If you don't pay attention, you tumble backwards. Are we able to keep our body long and strong without losing through our hips or arching through our back? All right, we're going to take that same movement and we're going to lean in the opposite directions. Palms face forward. Neck is nice and long. And we're going to go ahead and lean to the front left diagonal. Now, in that front left diagonal, your inside heel is going to want to lift. Anchor it down. Outside heel wants to lift. Anchor it down. Notice when you do, you'll feel left inner thigh, right outer glute. And I'm leaning to that diagonal. And then I'm going to go ahead and come back to center. And like I'm drawing a straight line, lean to the back right diagonal. Hands are out in front to counterbalance. Anchoring again, remember the outsides of those feet are going to want to lift. Outside, heel, inside heel, inner thigh, outer glute. And then we'll lean again. Just like the one side of an X, we're going to cross the other in a moment. So try and visualize you being center as you come across the middle and then back to that opposite direction. I started a side bend there, so I had to correct. So if you notice in that your body too, go ahead and correct that. I'm really starting to feel that outer gluteus medius fire. All right, let's go in the opposite direction. Lengthen through the crown of your head, and we're going to go ahead and lean to that front right diagonal. Inside heel anchors, outside heel anchors. Feeling that right inner thigh, left outer glute. You can take those arms out to an X, you can counterbalance, whatever feels good to your body. And then go ahead and lean down that same line to that back left diagonal. Inside heel anchors, outside heel anchors. And I want you to feel that all the way up through the core, not just your legs. I want you to translate it all the way to your deep neck flexors. Deep activation. And let's go again. And really try and find that anchoring. And then lean back. Remember, once you find your position, always try and anchor inside heel, outside heel. And come back to center. All right, we're going to kind of work that out just a little bit. Bring those legs all the way together. Spread your toes. Find that tripod. Bend those knees, and we're just going to circle things out. So sometimes things pop, crack, and snap because we were activating with them, and they tended to go out of alignment. So this is resetting alignment, and let's go the other direction. If this is painful, don't do it. Be aware of your body's mindful cues and listen. Now I want you to watch my feet for a moment. I don't want your feet to follow this motion. I want them to stay anchored. Don't let them follow or lift. And we'll go ahead and even out the other way. I did a few extra just to show you that. And come back to center. All right, I feel nice and active from the body down, but planks are all about the shoulder blades. So we're going to grab our TheraBand at our door anchor, or if you have a pole like me, and I'm going to step back until I get a little resistance with the arms nice and straight. Now this is also a plank in motion, so activate through your tripods of your feet, and then we're going to draw the elbows back. As we do, make sure that the shoulder doesn't round forward. Keep it straight up towards your earlobe and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Now watch the long arm of the long bone of my arm here for a moment. And I want you to notice how it's straight up and down. You don't want to tip it forward. This puts pressure on your rotator cuff. And you don't want to hike it up towards your earlobe. So we're just squeezing together and slowly resist back out. So remember I talked about that carpal arch. Keep going. Carpal arch is going to be the inside arch of that hand. So I want you to close your pinky ring and middle finger around that bar or the TheraBand, leaving your gun out. And we're starting to warm up the forearm, bicep, and tricep with that. So let's continue. If you need more resistance, remember you can always buy different levels of TheraBand, but we don't want it so heavy that we start to lose that activation in our long bone of our arm or a mid back. You want to feel this between our shoulder blades. And resist in both directions. This is a lighter TheraBand. I almost want twice as much as what I have. If you want a little bit more, you can come down into a nice wide second squat, keeping the crown of the head stacked over those hips. Good. Squeeze through those glutes to find that foundation. And we'll go ahead and go 2 more. And then as you finish that last one, we're going to go ahead and bring it on in. All right, I'm going to stay low, flip the palms down towards the floor, and we're going to draw it wide. Again, the foundation of the strength within our mid-back is what holds our plank strong. If you've ever seen yourself plank or someone else plank and their shoulder blades open like a barn door, they're actually putting too much pressure on the rotator cuff. The planks will hurt your wrists, they'll hurt your elbows, they'll hurt your shoulders, they'll hurt your neck. You might feel it translate into the low back. So you really want to activate and fire up your mid-back before you plank. We'll go ahead and go 2 more. And then on that last one, I want you to hold it there. And we're going to go sliding down an imaginary wall and drive it back up. I'm holding that mid-back row. I'm trying to roll the back of my armpit forward, and that helps flatten out the lower tip of that shoulder blade. Good. Now on the last one, go ahead and hold it down there. Press those knees open. Make sure that they're tracking or pointing towards that second toe. Go down an inch, up an inch. We'll go 4 and 3. Squeeze the shoulder blades. 2 and 1. Stand it all the way up. All right, let's go ahead and let that TheraBand go and make sure that nothing built up in our neck there. So we're going into some arm circles. Anchor through those feet. Thumbs come up towards the ceiling. Palms flip towards each other. Now open the palms down. I'm going to come down to my knees so you guys can see me and sweep them out and around. I'm trying to push the palms backwards without popping the rib cage, and just feel that activation behind the ribs. Good. Let's do that again. Float them on up. Palms flip forward. Slide them on down. See how nice and long my neck is? Don't let those shoulder blades squeeze up towards your ears. Good. We'll go ahead and go one more this direction. I'm really activating or trying to resist against an imaginary movement here, like someone's trying to push my hands forward, so that way I can get a little bit more mid-back here. And reverse. Palms face towards each other. Rib cage is drawn in. I'm going to slice it up, and I'm really kneeling here, squeezing my buns. If I was standing, I would also keep really good activation in through my body. Good. And slide them on down. Imagine you're pushing down on like 500-pound weights here. Try and find that activation there without rounding through your chest. And we'll go ahead and go one more. Sweeping those arms up and sliding them on down. Beautiful. And then let's just go ahead and shake it out. Let your head look right, head look left. All right, we're going to go ahead and release other things in the neck in a standing roll down. So for me, I tend to hyperextend my knees, so I have to soften them just a little bit to feel my hamstring. Curl down through the chin and slowly allow my body to unfurl, trying to keep my hips over my knees, knees over my ankles, and then I want you to relax there at the bottom. I'm still drawing up at the abdominals, so that way it's active, but I've let my shoulders go. I want you to let your head go too. Now, if you are too close to the floor because you're really flexible, draw at the abdominals so you've got about an inch away from the floor, and we're going to circle out that arm. So we're just giving ourselves a little mini break before we get into our first plank, and draw it the other direction. Let your head go. I like to look towards my belly button, get myself a good stretch through there, and then other arm, circling through. If this bothers your back, you can always flatten your knees, or soften your knees and flatten your back, and get that same release there. Other direction. Same thing for osteoporosis and disc issues. We talked about it in episode 6. Stay neutral. All right, now let's anchor through those feet. Draw it up to standing, one vertebrae at a time. Give your shoulders a little roll. All right, let's go ahead and step over to your wall or your elevated counter. Hands are going to be on the counter, and I want you to just take a moment and roll your shoulders up, back, and down, sliding the back of that armpit towards the hips. Step those feet back into a little long plank there. Now, a plank should be a nice straight line with the body, but really it should be active. I want you to press into that carpal arch, or that pinky side of the palm of the hand, into your counter bar wall. And notice how the back of that armpit sort of hugs forward. Ribs are drawn in against the shoulder blades. And if you've noticed, I've left my booty out there just a little bit because I don't want you to sink in and activate there. So lifting up to a high toe, I'm going to squeeze my buns and start to open up my hips until I'm in a nice straight line. Now in this plank line, you're going to flex and point. We're just trying to keep the back of that armpit hugging forward, like we're holding a $100 bill in the back of that armpit. We don't want the chest to round. Often it's cute, keep your collarbone nice and wide and open. This flexing and pointing helps activate the core. Now, if this is enough challenge for you today, this is where you're going to stay for your planks. We'll go ahead and go one more, lift it up nice and high, and we're going to throw in a tricep push-up. Elbows roll and wrap towards the floor. Bend at those elbows, lowering your body down without sinking through the shoulder blades, which I did, and press it away. Now watch my body alignment real quick. Notice as I bend my elbows, how my chest and chin draws forward. Don't do that. Keep everything nice and solid. Crown of the head nice and long. Bending and extending those elbows. Squeeze to the bun, stay active. And then we'll go one more. And then sink our hips back. Nice flat back stretch. Bend through one knee, get a good stretch down one side. And bend through the other to get a good stretch down the other. I highly recommend doing your planks either by looking in a reflective video so you can videotape them, one more time other way, or in a nice long mirror, because you really need to make sure that you are not out of alignment by arching your low back, popping that rib cage forward. Last one. I promise you it will translate into some really great stuff into your body. Bend those knees, stack back up. All right, we're going to take it to a lower surface. Same thing. If you would like, you can stay at the wall or that countertop. Otherwise, we're going to face towards an elevated coffee table. I have a Pilates box, something of that nature. Anchoring through those feet, spreading those toes nice and wide. Take a nice big inhale in, up and over. We are going to be walking our way out to a plank. Curl down through the chin. Roll and round it down. Remember, osteoporosis and disc issues, you can hinge instead. Making our way down to the floor, anchoring through those feet, walking our hands forward. Arriving in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right, so step your feet back so that way you've got that nice long alignment. I like to roll my shoulders up, back, and down, pressing through the pinky side of that hand, holding that $100 bill in the back of that armpit. Squeeze to the buns. Try and open up the hips. Tailbone reaches towards the heels. Rib cage is pulled in against the shoulder blades. Elbows should wrap in. Now, I'm going to show you something really freaky with my elbows real quick. Don't lock them out. If you are a hyperextender, that is really bad for you. Look at the bends of the elbows and make sure that they point towards each other. I also have a teaching strategy as I like to talk when things are hard. So we're going to hold it for one more good deep breath and then pike those hips up, trying to distract you. You can walk your feet forward, take a little mini break. At any time, tap out when this becomes too much for your body. All right, we're going to add some movement to that. Press into the pinky side of the hands. Make sure the bends of the elbows are sort of looking at each other, and they should eventually sort of cross with an X, like your elbows are cross-eyed. And I want you to walk those feet back, pressing into that second toe for ankle alignment, shoulders back and down, rib cage in against shoulder blades, buns are squeezed, tailbone reaches towards the heels, double chin, crown of the head is long, squeeze through everything. And let's flex and point there again. Flex and point. If you feel any buildup in your low back, I would rather you be slightly piked and not feel any buildup in the low back than in your best plank. We'll go ahead and go one more. It takes strength to be here. Good. Now hold it there. We're going to add in that tricep push-up. Bending through those elbows, press it away. Don't let yourself get chicken neck here. Bend at the elbows. Press away. Press to that pinky side of the hand. We'll go one more. We're going to take a break here. Pike those hips up. Walk your feet in. Find a nice bent knee position. Nice flat back. Let your head go. We're going to circle through those arms. Just make sure your neck is free. If you want to look over one shoulder, do that. Arms go the other direction. Look over the other shoulder. And we're going to be making our way to the floor. Giving ourselves a little bit more glute work before we head to our harder planks. Okay, so we are going to do a Pilates sit. Pilates sit, Joseph Pilates said the ultimate goal is to get up and off the floor without using your hands. So I'm going into a wide second position. It's the easiest way to get down. Knees are rolled open, pointing towards my second toe. And I'm going to slowly slide down the wall, trying not to counterbalance too much to the upper body and allow my butt to gently arrive. It doesn't look as pretty in parallel, but that's the ultimate goal, is to do it in parallel. All right, feet up on your coffee table or on your box. Draw in those abdominals, and let's go ahead and lay it on down. We're going into some bridging here. Neck is nice and long, palms flip up. Think of this as a wrist break as well. Heels can be on the top or arches can be on the edge. Figure out what feels right for you. I'm going to go arches on the edge. And we're going to start with a hinge. Big inhale in. Exhale, knit the ribs together. Pull them down towards the floor. Make sure you have a nice neutral spot underneath the low back. That marble is balancing between your pubic bone and belly button. And then on your second exhale, we're going to hinge up. So as you hinge up, don't look at me. You want to look straight up towards the ceiling. Press those hands. Knees reach forward. Pubic bone presses forward. Make sure that the rib cage, glutes, tailbone, and knees are all in one alignment. And hinge it back down. Sticking those buns out, trying to come down in one single unit. Now I say don't look at me because it's really bad to be in an inversion and to turn your neck. So big inhale there. Fire up through the glutes. More abs, more buns means less hamstrings. Hamstrings are behind those legs. They like to cramp. Press those hands to get more lift, more tricep. Neck stays long. And hinge it back down. You got it. And we'll go one more. Exhale, press those hands. Knees shoot forward. Pause at the top. Really try and organize. Make sure your abs aren't just hanging out in the middle. They're active. It's a plank in an inverted space. If you need an activator, take those hands, float them up over your head, and it becomes instantly more active. And let's go halfway down. I started to arch my back, if you saw that. Squeeze and lift. That's why it's called a practice. We get better at it, but it's always only our best, right? So my best is going to look a little different than your best. Your best is going to look a little different than another's. So just know that your body is perfect exactly the way it is. And what we are doing for it right now is amazing. One more. So be grateful to your body for what it can do, and not say mean things to it for things that it's not quite doing yet. Okay, now pause right before the floor. And I want you to sweep your hips to the right and to the left, like it is drawing a giant U. Or if you think of a swing, swinging. Your shoulders and your feet to your knees are really stable. And your hips are just swinging right in between. Good, even out from right to left. Woo. Feeling a nice good booty burn there. Come back to center and lay it on down. All right, hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little rock from right to left. Little circle on the ceiling. And the other direction. And let's go ahead and bring our knees up into that tight tabletop, hands on the shins. Chin, double chest, chest lift up. Lever up at that rib cage. Pull yourself up to that low rib cage line. And we're going into a single straight leg stretch. Extend one leg out, take the other. Grab it as high as you can, never behind the knee. Shoulders draw back and down. Give it a double pulse to stretch it. Flex and point and switch. Good, pull it on in. Shoulders back and down. Double pulse it. Flex, point, and shift. We'll go one more, each way. Double pulse it, flex, double pulse it again, and switch. Pull it in, shoulders back and down, double pulse, flex, double pulse, and draw it on in, and set it back down. All right, let's go ahead and roll over onto all fours. we're going into the hardest version of our plank. If your wrists are bothering you or your body's saying no thank you, this is when you will turn it off and say goodbye, or head back to the box or your counter or wall to do a third and final set. All right, starting in I think I'll go this way, in a quadruped position. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, roll your shoulders up, back, and push that ground away. Make sure you're pressing into the pinky side of that palm of the hand. Try and open and widen your collarbone. Exhale out completely. Feel those ribs draw in against those activated shoulder blades and step one foot back. Remember to keep those hips slightly hiked from episode 6 and step back the other leg. Now pressing into that second toe, we're going to go ahead and pike our hips up to give ourselves a chance to set. Take a look at your feet, make sure they're evenly spaced. You can go as wide as you'd like for a base of support. Press into the pinky side of those hands, draw your shoulders back and down. Now squeeze the buns like a reverse bridge and lower yourself down into that plank. Shoulders are down, rib cage in, glutes are firing, pubic bone presses forward. Heels in one direction, crown of the head in the other, like you're stretching 2 ways. Hold it for 4 and 3, squeeze those buns. 2, 8 legs are so active. And 1, pike it back up. Okay, take a good deep breath. We're gonna do all 3 things. We're gonna point and flex this time. Big inhale there. Exhale, engage. Reverse bridge, resist it. Find your connections on the way down. I've really gotta find those shoulder blades for me. Neck is long. Squeezing through the buns. And let's go ahead and flex those feet back and point through the toes. Whew. Make sure that that neck stays long, eyes gaze out. Like if you were Lady in the Tramp and you were rolling the marble or meatball across the plate just before you see his edge. 1 more. Whew. And let's go ahead and pike it up. Whew. We've got tricep push-ups to finish this out. If you've got to make any adjustments, make them. My hands are sweaty, my gloves are pinching in between my fingers. All right, squeeze to those glutes, shoulders down. Engage those buns, lower yourself to that nice long length. Good, pubic bone presses forward, elbows roll in. Bend through those elbows, press it away. And we'll go 2 more. Shh. Abs are on. And last one. Set those knees down. Toes together. Sink those hips back. Get a good deep breath into that back body. If you need something different right now, go for it. This is the best way to really expand the back side of that rib cage in a really nice tight wide knee child's pose and get that full 3-dimensional Pilates breath. As you take the inhale through the nose, feel those ribs expand backwards. And exhale. I'm going to do 1 more here. I don't know about you, but I feel nice and shaky and quaky. Let's walk our hands over to the right. Get a nice, good stretch. So this episode is a little different than the others. It can be hard on the wrists if you're just building up your planks to do this 3 times a week. So what I would like you to do is intersperse this into your workout for the next 3 weeks. Do it once. Try and build up that strength for your planks. And then take it over to the other side. And take a good deep breath. Good, and we'll go ahead and come back to center. And you guys did an excellent job today. Thank you so much for joining me in another episode, episode 8 of Pilates with Marilyn. And I will look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thanks and have a wonderful rest of your day.